One of South Florida's most expensive elections in '97 may be the race for mayor in Hialeah. 4 candidates in the running there, but it's expected to be a tough fight between Herman Echeverria and incumbent Raul Martinez. NBC6 reporter Sandra Peebles is in Hialeah with more on this very high-profile election. Sandra?
It certainly is, Bob. And you know, these two fellows have worked together for a very long time in the City of Progress, but now they are on opposite sides of the fence, battling it out against one another. Now the campaigning here in Hialeah has been gaining momentum in the past few months. Mayor Raul Martinez is hoping voters elect him mayor for the 8th time. But a strong contender, as you mentioned, is Herman Echeverria. He has served as councilman for 12 years and is now council president. Among the issues on voters' minds are the economy and crime. Now, voting officials here expect a huge turnout. As a matter of fact, they have increased the staff here, the poll workers. There are more numbers of them. And although there are no official estimates, organizers have planned for this election as if it was a presidential election. And of course, the polling places around the county will open at 7 o'clock this morning, and they will close at 7 o'clock tonight. We're live in Hialeah. I'm Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
All right, thank you, Sandra. Stores are betting thousands will be wearing World Series T-shirts. NBC6 reporter Sandra Peebles is at International Mall in West Dade, where the shipments are beginning to arrive. Sandra?
Well, Bob, this store has been rocking and rolling. We're at the Pro Image at International Mall, and ever since we've got here, there have been customers nonstop. We've got a little lull going on, but folks here assure me that when lunchtime comes around, it's going to be another madhouse. I'm with Lisa. Lisa, how many T-shirts would you say you've sold already?
Between like 60 and 80.
60 and 80 shirts, and that's just in 1 hour that the store has been open. And of course, this is what folks have been coming to get, the National League Championship T-shirts. Now, before the printers got going, printers wanted to make sure that Kevin Brown had launched his final pitch. The Florida Marlins, the wild card in the World Series. That's right, the Florida Marlins are headed to the World Series. And it's time to boast, folks. Wear it proud. Our baseball team made it. They're the National League champs. At the top of the 9th inning in Game 6, Marty Thatcher of STS Corporation gave his crew the cue. Roll it.
We knew the Marlins were going to do it, and we just turned it on, and we haven't stopped since.
Since 11 o'clock Tuesday night, the silkscreen presses have been pumping out T-shirts from the press to the box to the rack. Nearly 200 employees moving them through. About 40,000 T-shirts will stock South Florida sports shops, like the Sports Arena at the Coral Square Mall.
I have 288 of every size. And that's my first order, and we have all the other stuff, too.
Ron Tannenbaum got lucky his order's ready. Folks at Parity Shops of Fort Lauderdale showed up at 8 o'clock this morning, but had to wait on several suppliers.
No, we've been to other locations. They've said they're behind also. I think just a rush and excitement.
Well, certainly lots of excitement. Fabian is a customer and a Marlins fan here, and he bought the first ever Marlins National Championship T-shirt. Were you excited?
Yeah, of course. I was sitting there at home last night watching with my family, and when Renteria got the ball and got the out to second base, I flipped out and I called on my friends, and it's been 5 long years, but we're finally making it.
I think that kind of says what everybody has to say. Everyone flipped out, and everybody was certainly calling each other. I know I got a few phone calls myself last night. Certainly lots of excitement out here at the Pro Image. Lots of folks we're expecting a little bit later on as well. We are live at the International Mall. I'm Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
Hey, Sandra, lend me a few bucks. Would you? 2 adult smalls and 2 adult larges.
I'll get them for you.
Thanks, Sandra.
The T-shirts are still coming off the presses. NBC6 reporter Sandra Peebles is in North Dade, where they're making them around the clock. Sandra, good morning.
Good morning, Alicia. Actually, this is quite exciting. In the 9th inning, when it was clear that the Marlins were going to clinch this series, the presses started rolling here at STS Corporation. Take a look at what's going on. This is what a National League Series championship will do for industry. There are about 125 employees here working around the clock. All of these boxes are filled with T-shirts. 35,000 T-shirts will be produced and will be shipped out by 9 o'clock this morning. They will be headed to area stores like JCPenney's and Upton's and area shops where you can go buy them and where you can wear your T-shirts to the game if you have tickets. And if you don't, well, you might be out of luck because there aren't very many left. Fans confident the Marlins would head to the World Series lined up to buy tickets early. They wrapped around the Marlins ticket office on Southwest 8th Street and clamored at the box office window at Pro Players Stadium.
Because it's one in a lifetime thing. So, you're going to sit at the end zone there, but it's worth it. It's not going to happen again. So definitely, yeah. So I'm going to get a couple more seats just in case. I know there's going to be people that going to want to go at the last minute.
Games 1, 2, and 6 completely sold out. All tickets snatched up within 36 hours of going on sale.
I need 2 of those $30 mezzanine.
30 are gone. Only have a $20 limited view seats.
The only tickets that remain are obstructed view in Game 7. And if it goes the full series, South Florida will reap the benefits big time. An estimated $20 million in revenue and worldwide publicity. Alrighty, this is a first look at the T-shirts. I believe Bob and Alicia have one like this. This is also the T-shirt that the guys wore right after the championship last night. If you were watching, they put these on. And here's another style that you'll be seeing at stores around town as you go shopping for your Marlins Mania fish fashion, if you will. So here's a little preview of what they've got here at STS. Certainly very exciting. The presses have not stopped. You can hear the action. You can see the action here. Certainly very exciting. And, of course, this is history. The Marlins are the first team ever to make it to a World Series in only 5 years. And, boy, are we proud here in South Florida. I'm in North Dade. Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
We sure are. Thank you, Sandra.
Robbers burst into Pacific National Bank on Brickell Avenue. But these aren't just any thugs. These heisters are trained City of Miami police officers, giving bank employees a lesson on handling a real-life robbery. Jose Peralta is ordered down on the floor.
Of course, I know it was a drill, but, you get a little nervous. The first time I heard it shoot.
So, no media.
And just like a real-life situation, witnesses are escorted away from the media and taken into this room where they will be questioned about every detail they remember. Although these tactics might seem extreme, police say putting employees under this kind of stress is the best way to train them for a real-life crisis.
We talk to the tellers, we tell them basic tips of what they could pick up after the robbery occurred and things to look at next time it does happen. And we want to make sure that everyone does what the robber says and just listens and follows directions.
All right, let's go, let's go! The high-drama drill took all of 1 minute. In the end, employees critique themselves, and cops also critique their performance. According to police, this teller should have been faster in giving robbers the money. And Alexander Garcez's reaction?
When I heard the gunshots, I ran to the ladies' room, and because it feels so scary, it was it was true.
Bad move, according to police. It could have cost her her life.
The guy that turned around to run, he probably would have got shot if it was a real case scenario. If these were, in fact, real guns with real bullets in it. Because we don't have time to fool around. If robbers are going to come in, they're going to get the job done, they're going to get out. Because they know if the police arrive, they're going to get shot.
Case of a Cooper City woman who claims a phony doctor botched her cosmetic surgery. Tonight, that alleged imposter is facing new charges that could mean a stiffer penalty. NBC6 reporter Sandra Peebles first broke this story, and Sandra's live in downtown Miami. Sandra, what's the latest?
Well, just to bring you up to speed, Henry Castillo was arrested last week for allegedly operating on a Miami woman. Now today, police arrested another man, Roland Delgado. They say he's the one who administered anesthesia in Lourdes Socorro's breast implant surgery. Now, neither man is licensed to practice medicine in the state of Florida, and for that, today, Henry Castillo was formally charged.
House arrest with bracelet.
Henry Castillo's emotional reaction to formal charges filed against him by the state attorney's office, practicing medicine without a license, 4 counts aggravated battery, 3 counts of grand theft, and delivery of a controlled substance for allegedly prescribing Tylenol with codeine to his patients. Castillo wipes his tears, shaking his head in disbelief. Also in disbelief to learn Castillo is unlicensed to practice medicine, Brandy Saw.
I can't believe it. I'm just shocked. He deserves to be punished.
Saw is the first person to come forward with information about Castillo's alleged illegal medical practice. She says Castillo botched an implant surgery he performed on her.
He told me that he was going to use a sedation and that I'd be almost completely asleep.
But Saw says Castillo used no general anesthesia. She says he tied her to the operating table using only local anesthesia on her breasts. By the time she realized what was going on, she says it was too late.
I didn't want to watch this anymore. I was petrified. I was bawling. I was tied to the table. I couldn't go anywhere. So I couldn't get up and call my husband. I couldn't call 911. I couldn't do anything.
Castillo is still jailed on charges of operating on another woman, Lourdes Socorro of Miami. He appeared this morning in Judge Michael Chavy's courtroom. Castillo will post bond to get out of jail, but the judge ordered he remain under house arrest until the trial, set for February.
He can't be convicted of all these charges and sentenced consecutively for doing the same act. So it's duplicitous. It didn't change his bond status, and it doesn't change the fact that he didn't do the operation in the first place.
Brandy Sa has filed a lawsuit. As for Castillo, he remains in jail, and other charges may be forthcoming. At the Dade County Courthouse, Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
Sandra, thank you. At the site of this blast with his update. Sandra, is this what you call a backdraft like we saw in the movie?
Well, it doesn't appear at this time that that might be the case. But then again, investigators are here and they will look at several factors, and then by process of elimination, that will be determined. Now, for now, what they're thinking is that there was some kind of hydraulic oil that might have built up fumes, and that might have caused the blast. For now, however, this building is a mangled mess. Traffic here, however, has gone back to normal. It is open on Biscayne Boulevard, and fortunately, other than a handful of firefighters, no one else was inside at the time of the blast. The explosive force drove through this two-story building, tearing out electrical wires, blowing out roofing materials, shattering windows to pieces. The magnitude of this explosion was such that it ripped one door out, crashed it against this, and you can see this piece of roofing driven through that door.
Well, we're concentrating on the area here where the majority of the fire damage is, and which contains some of the mechanisms and the reservoir for the hydraulic oil for the elevator, but we're not sure that that's the exact cause of the fire.
Tenants at the offices of Banyan Bay say there were problems with the building's elevator. Yesterday, the janitor got stuck.
About 15 minutes, he was worried. You know, he was going crazy in the elevator, and we had to call somebody to try to get him out.
Here is that the fumes from the hydraulic oil that runs the elevator is what might have caused this blast to occur. Miami Elevator Company will be here. They will be helping fire investigators to determine exactly what it is that caused that explosion. Reporting live in Miami, I'm Sandra Peebles, NBC6. Getting underway any moment now. I was just upstairs in the courtroom, and both parties were still meeting in chambers with the judge. Now, Joe Carollo stepped into the glare of the media spotlight as news crews swarmed him upon entering the courthouse this morning. Judge Thomas Wilson will hear testimony from witnesses beginning today. Witnesses who say their absentee ballots were used without their permission or authority. Now, a grand jury found last week that indeed voter fraud played a part in this election. Carollo wants the judge to throw out the 5,000 absentee ballots cast in November's mayoral race against Xavier Suarez. If it weren't for the absentees, Carollo would have been the winner outright by 51% of the vote.
We feel very confident that democracy is going to prevail. You know, this case is not about me going back as mayor. What this case is really about is about democracy in Miami, in our country. And that's why we have worked so hard to bring this forward, so that never again would we have to go through anyone in this community and what happened in these past elections.
Now, citing a recent case in Philadelphia, Carollo says that Florida law would dictate that the lawyer find him the winner, and therefore he would be Miami's next mayor. That decision, of course, is up to Judge Wilson. He will decide, and this trial is expected to last about a week. We'll, of course, stay on top of this story and bring you the very latest. Reporting live from the Dade County Courthouse, I'm Sandra Peebles, NBC6. The rain has subsided for the first time since midnight, and all of the power in this area is out. Let's turn the lights on so you can get a better idea of what's going on. We're at mile marker 75, and to show you how dangerous this kind of situation is, take a look at what's going on right now. You can see right now as we're bringing you this broadcast how this live wire is just blowing up. It is sparkling up in the air, and we are just feet away from it. If we can go over here, take a look at this piece of roof that is actually hanging on that live wire. A very dangerous situation out here. It's 4:30 now. The winds have started to pick up once again. We're at mile marker 56, what we believe to be the Marathon Resort Hotel. Now take a look at some of the devastation. We believe this is one of the areas hardest hit, and this is where it begins. You can
report Sandra Peebles is at Miami International Airport. You were there when the group left. Sandra, what was the feeling?
Oh, it was so much excitement, Jill. At 5 o'clock this morning, Nations Air Flight 317 departed from Miami International Airport carrying 180 passengers. Their destination, Havana, Cuba. Their mission, a one-day spiritual trip most thought they'd never see.
Good morning.
The Catholic Church's high clergy, led by Miami Archbishop John C. Favalora, arrives at Miami International Airport before daybreak.
This, again, is a historic occasion.
An historic pilgrimage, a day trip to Havana to witness Pope John Paul's Mass at La Plaza de la Revolucion. Ana Rodriguez Soto, one of 180 passengers, will witness the event as a Catholic and a journalist for the Archdiocese of the Florida Catholic. She'll also experience it as a Cuban.
As a Cuban, it's going to be my first time back. It means a lot to me. I'm sort of going for all my family that haven't been able to go. My sister said to me before I left, well, you'll be the first to go back.
Go please to 818. Gustavo Cuervo hasn't seen his homeland in nearly 40 years. For him, this is a spiritual mission which inevitably sparks patriotic emotions. The Archdiocese of Miami chartered Nations Air Flight 317 to Havana, which departed at 5 o'clock this morning. The pilgrims will arrive in the Cuban capital at 6 a.m., attend 9 o'clock Mass, and return to South Florida by 4:30 this afternoon. Among the group, clergy and exiles bound by faith and the hope for change in a seemingly unshakable communist nation.
The Pope has been able to begin many new exciting things during these days. There have been new freedoms, new liberties, there have been new opportunities for the church to be on television, to print materials. It seems almost inconceivable that tomorrow morning we're going to go backwards to where we were before.
Now, many of the exiles on that flight say they had mixed feelings about this trip. However, after watching the events unfold on television during the past few days, they say their hearts are filled with hope, their souls filled with excitement. We'll speak to them when they get back. Reporting live at Miami International Airport, I'm Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
What an incredibly emotional departure. Thank you, Sandra. We'll see you in detention center. NBC6 reporter Sandra Peebles is there live with more on this close call. Sandra?
Well, Kelly, Kenny Cypress is home right now. He's feeling a little bit sore, but he's gone for the day. Now, when this happened, you see the Miccosukee Indian Reservation right now is holding its annual festival. And when this incident happened here yesterday, this arena was filled with about 300 people. People who were looking in horror as Kenny had to fight off this alligator for his life.
This is called bulldogging, folks.
Kenny Cypress back in the gator pen just a day after a 10-footer almost bit off his head. Here's the technique. The wrestler thrills the audience by putting his head in the gator's mouth.
That's where you got to be careful. Do it in a split seconds and get out of there.
Elvis T. Cypress mentored Kenny. He also saved his life.
Jump on his back and try to open his jars. And the other people was trying to apply with the stick to open his jars. We got him loose, though.
Kenny ended up in the hospital with puncture wounds to his face and a fractured jaw. Within a few hours, he left the hospital and returned to the Miccosukee Indian Village, where he's been wrestling gators professionally for 2 years.
At the moment, I wasn't thinking right, and when the sweat hit his tongue, he just bit down instinctively.
I'm amazed that this hasn't happened more often.
Kenny says he neither fears the gator nor does he blame it for the accident. Watch as Kenny throws sand into the alligator's mouth. The reptile instinctively clamps down, exerting 1,500 pounds of pressure, enough to break your arm when anything touches the inside of its mouth. How do you feel having been in there again today?
I feel pretty good about it. Well, my chin kind of hurt when I did a bulldogging technique.
Now, if you're wondering why Kenny was wearing that over his face, he was actually trying to protect his puncture wounds so that we couldn't see them. Now, doctors say he's really very fortunate to be alive. That alligator could have not only punctured him severely, but it could have also snapped his neck because they tend to want to toss their prey around. But again, Kenny says he is adamant about returning to work, and he says he'll be right here tomorrow performing once again. We're live at the Miccosukee Indian Village. I'm Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
All right, Sandra, thank you. Unfortunately, this is a story we often hear about this time of year.